Welcome to World Code Updates, your daily briefing on everything happening around the world. The windswept hills of Batanes, once a symbol of serene isolation and untouched beauty, now hum with the unmistakable presence of military aircraft and the rapid construction of new security infrastructure. Where only the sound of the wind and waves once echoed, the distant roar of engines and the sight of radar domes have become part of the landscape. Once overlooked by the world, these northernmost Philippine islands have suddenly become a strategic buffer in the intensifying rivalry between the United States and China. Their location, just a short distance from Taiwan, places them at the crossroads of regional power dynamics. The shift is visible everywhere. Fishing ports that once hosted only local boats now see naval vessels docked alongside, and the presence of uniformed personnel is a daily reality for the islanders. Airstrips, once used for small propeller planes and emergency landings, are now being evaluated and upgraded for potential military use, signaling a new era for the island's infrastructure. Joint U.S. Philippine military drills, once rare, have become routine, with soldiers training side by side on the windswept hills and grassy fields, their flags flying together as a symbol of alliance and shared purpose. The message is clear: deterrence and readiness are now priorities, as the islands brace for the uncertainties of a changing security landscape. The Philippines, under a new administration, is asserting its sovereignty and strengthening its alliance with the United States, recognizing Batanes as a vital listening post and a potential staging ground for regional operations. Surveillance equipment and communication towers now dot the hills, keeping watch over the northern seas. For the Ivatan community, this transformation brings both opportunity and anxiety. Improved infrastructure, new roads, and economic prospects are welcomed by many, but they come hand in hand with a sense of unease about the future. The burden of being on a potential front line weighs heavily on local families, who now watch military activity unfold from their villages and wonder what tomorrow might bring. Daily life is now intertwined with global strategy, as schoolchildren walk past soldiers on their way to class, and fishermen cast their nets under the watchful eyes of Navy patrols. The ordinary rhythms of island life are now set against the backdrop of a high-stakes power struggle. The tranquility that once defined these islands is being fundamentally challenged, as the familiar and the foreign blend in unexpected ways. The world's gaze has shifted north, and Batanes now stands at the heart of a new era, its story broadcast on global news and watched by distant capitals. The stakes for the region, and the world, have never been higher, as Batanes finds itself at the epicenter of a contest that will shape the future of the Asia-Pacific. Batan's importance is geography. Just 140 kilometers from Taiwan, it's a critical link in the region's security chain. In peace, this proximity fosters ties. In crisis, it puts the Philippines in the immediate theater of any Taiwan conflict. The islands offer a prime vantage for intelligence and early warning, monitoring the Bashi Channel for Chinese maneuvers. A Chinese takeover of Taiwan would put the PLA on the Philippines' doorstep, threatening its economic lifelines. Strengthening Batan's defenses is now an act of self-preservation, not just regional security. The U.S. Philippines alliance has refocused on this northern flank, making Batanes the embodiment of a rapidly shifting power balance. Remote no more, these islands are now a central front in the Indo-Pacific. The Philippines, with U.S. backing, is rapidly increasing its military footprint in Batanes and the north. New outposts, rotating troops, and joint U.S. Philippine training are now the norm, signaling that these islands are no longer undefended. American engineers and special forces are building facilities and training for coastal defense, ensuring seamless cooperation in a crisis. Airfields are being expanded for larger aircraft, and new naval and coast guard stations are under construction. These projects, while framed as disaster response, are fundamentally about deterrence and sovereignty. Manila aims to regain control over its northern waters, countering illegal incursions and asserting its maritime rights. The new presence is a tangible shift from reactive to proactive defense. Batanes is now a linchpin in the Philippines' strategy to defend its territory. The U.S. Philippines alliance is most visible in expanded joint military exercises, now focused on external defense near Taiwan. Balikatan drills in Batanes and nearby provinces feature live fire, amphibious landings, and advanced weapons like HIMARS. New infrastructure, piers, logistics hubs, and upgraded airfields supports both humanitarian and military operations. U.S. funding has enabled runways for larger aircraft and surveillance drones, giving the Allies rapid response capability near the Taiwan Strait. These war games and projects build capacity and send a clear message of deterrence. The Allies are demonstrating readiness for a coordinated response to any aggression. Batanes is now a key forward position in a resilient defensive arc. The region's security architecture has fundamentally shifted. The Luzon Strait and Bashi Channel are not just stretches of water, they are vital maritime choke points that serve as the lifeblood of global commerce. Every day, countless ships carrying goods, energy supplies, and raw materials pass through these narrow corridors, connecting the economies of East Asia with the rest of the world. Any disruption here would send shockwaves through international supply chains, crippling global trade and causing shortages and price spikes far beyond Asia. The world's dependence on this route cannot be overstated. For China, maintaining access and potentially controlling this strait is essential for its navy's freedom of movement and any future operations involving Taiwan. The strait is a strategic gateway for both commercial and military vessels. The United States and its allies are determined to deny the PLA Navy unfettered access, making the islands of Batanes and northern Luzon critical strategic anchors in the region's defense architecture. These islands are ideally positioned to host advanced sensors, missile batteries, and radar installations, allowing for constant monitoring and control over the strait's maritime traffic. Anti-ship missile systems stationed in Batanes could threaten any hostile fleet attempting to pass through, while powerful radar arrays strip away the element of surprise, providing early warning of any approaching forces. The ongoing military buildup in these islands is about more than just defending territory. It's about shaping the entire strategic environment and deterring aggression before it starts. By deploying sophisticated defensive systems, the Philippines and the U.S. are creating their own anti-access and area denial bubble, directly challenging China's ability to project power into the heart of the Indo-Pacific. The Luzon Strait has now become a central arena in the high-stakes contest for dominance in the Indo-Pacific, with each side seeking to secure its interests and shape the future balance of power. Ultimately, control of this narrow but crucial waterway could decide not just the fate of the region, but the stability of global commerce itself. The Philippines is building new Coast Guard and Navy outposts in Batanes to assert control over its northern waters. A new Coast Guard station and upgraded naval outpost on Mavulas Island provide real-time maritime awareness and early warning. These resilient, multifunctional outposts serve as logistics hubs and sovereign markers, reinforcing Philippine claims. They counter China's gray zone tactics by enabling persistent patrols and calibrated responses to incursions. Raising the flag on these remote islands is a powerful statement of ownership. The strategy is to defend sovereignty day by day, without immediate escalation. In these contested waters, presence is power. The Enhanced Defense Cooperation Agreement, or EDCA, now gives the U.S. access to new sites in northern Luzon, just across from Taiwan. Upgraded airfields and naval bases allow rapid U.S. deployment and extend operational reach in a crisis. These sites serve as both deterrent and force multiplier, complicating China's invasion calculus. U.S. and Philippine forces train and operate together, deepening coordination for any contingency. The expansion is controversial in Manila, but the government sees it as essential for national defense. The Philippines retains ownership and approval over all activities, balancing sovereignty with security. Granting U.S. access is a calculated risk, one that strengthens the alliance in a dangerous neighborhood. The region's security landscape is being redrawn. Beijing views the U.S. Philippines military buildup in the north as a direct provocation and threat. Chinese officials condemn new EDC sites and joint drills, framing them as American attempts to contain China. The dual-use infrastructure is seen as a pretext for military expansion, fueling a security dilemma and escalating tensions. China responds with diplomatic pressure and increased military activity in the Bashi Channel, testing Allied resolve. Manila must reassure Beijing while strengthening its alliance with Washington, a delicate balancing act. For China, the growing U.S. presence on its southern flank is unacceptable, and Batanes is now a symbol of this challenge. The Philippines faces a two-front dilemma, defending against China's encroachment in the West Philippine Sea and securing its northern border amid Taiwan tensions. Limited resources force tough choices, strengthening one front risks, weakening the other. The U.S. is a vital ally, but its priorities may not always align with Manila's urgent needs. The Philippines must skillfully manage its alliance to protect both Western and Northern interests. This is a test of strategic maturity, requiring modernization, diplomacy, and resilience. The nation's fate may depend on its ability to walk this tightrope. In the 21st century, Philippine sovereignty is challenged from two directions at once. Batanes, once remote and tranquil, is now a fulcrum in the intensifying rivalry between the United States and China. Its quiet shores transformed into a strategic flashpoint almost overnight. The islands have become a microcosm of a new Cold War, echoing the tension and uncertainty of a bygone era, but with stakes that feel even higher today. A rapid military buildup and expanded U.S. access to bases in the region mark a fundamental shift in Southeast Asia's security architecture, reshaping alliances and defense strategies across the region. The Philippines and the U.S. now work closely to deter aggression and uphold a rules-based order in the face of growing uncertainty, signaling their commitment to regional stability. Yet, this increased cooperation brings new risks, as China views these moves as direct challenges, raising the specter of confrontation in already disputed waters. For Southeast Asia, Batanes now signals mounting pressure to choose sides in a conflict that none of its nations truly desire, forcing difficult diplomatic calculations. As of August 2025, the winds over Batanes carry the tension of a world on edge, with every gust a reminder of the fragile peace that hangs in the balance. The fate of these islands is now inextricably linked to the future of Taiwan and the evolving U.S. China relationship, making Batanes a critical piece in a much larger geopolitical puzzle. For the local Ivatan people, daily life continues amid uncertainty, as the possibility of Batanes becoming either a bastion of peace or a staging ground for conflict remains unresolved. One thing is clear: these islands, once overlooked, now stand at the very center of the century's defining power struggle, their destiny intertwined with the future of the entire region.